I love that. The next thing that I came up with was the idea of labels, because I had one of those people on the an insurance agent who said basically, "So are you the provider?" And it just hit me the wrong way. I said, "No, I'm the physician." She said, "Well, that makes you the provider." And I said, "No, I'm a physician. I'm not a provider. AT&T is my cable provider. Hammond is my water provider. Hammond Water Service is my water provider. I'm not a provider. I'm a physician." And so no one can make you, if we start to think of ourselves as just being providers, you know, this is not out of arrogance that I'm saying this. It's out of things that I think are important. I had this in mind that I wanted to talk about this for this talk, and we were in Italy a month ago, and I found this picture as we were in a large cathedral, but we were on the wing of the cathedral that was the hospital. So medicine came out of the priesthood. People came to the church seeking healing, and medicine today comes out of the priesthood and the whole wing of the hospital. You see, the monks were actually taking care of the people there. So we are, again, and if you go back before that, even back to the Hippocratic Oath, the Hippocratic Oath talks about the practice of medicine as being holy. Holy meaning set apart. It's not a religious term, but holiness, that we will live our lives in holiness, which means we're set apart. As physicians, we get to do a lot of things that other people don't get to do. We get to hear things, we get to see things, we get to look in places, we touch things that nobody else does, right? I mean, basically, so we are a set apart profession. And so we need to see ourselves and conduct ourselves in that manner, realizing that we're not just providers, that we do have a special, and we don't wear, again, this is not out of arrogance, it's out of humility. The last thing you want to do is take an idea like this and become the Tada doctor. Everybody knows what the Tada doctor is. You know, basically, when you come in the room, instead of greeting the patient and saying, "I'm so glad to see you today," they come into the room and go, "Ta-da, you know, the doctor's here, great thing." They make it all about themselves. So this is not the kind of arrogance that I'm talking about. I'm talking about taking internal pride in our profession of medicine. Thank you. The next thing is balance. Those are all things that work. The other half of the people that I see basically have difficulty finding balance in their life. If you don't have a rudder, you don't have a keel for your boat and a rudder, you're never going to get anywhere. And so many people out there are drifting around without that keel. And so I read this about 10 or 15 years ago. I found this in something that I was reading. It's from a book of wisdom that was written like 3,000 years ago. Hu Ching is my best assassination of the name of it. But I just loved it because I thought it was so simple and so concise. And basically it was saying to find balance in your life, all you need to do is, and I think the verbs are important in this, is you need to honor your parents. It doesn't mean you always have to like your parents or like what they tell you to do, but you honor them throughout your life. The next thing that it talks about is that you care for your mate with devotion. It doesn't say that you're going to be madly in love with your mate every day for the rest of your life. And you're going to have rough patches. There are going to be times when you don't like them, but you care for your mate despite what? With devotion. The third thing is that you love your children. I think this is, equally as important. The verb love, it doesn't say you control your children. It doesn't say you live through your children. It basically says you love your children for who and what they are and allow them to become what they're going to be. Because when you try to do those other kind of things with your children and control, you're going to be very frustrated and they're going to do bad things. The fourth thing is to be faithful to your friends. Fifth thing is to complete your work cooperatively and joyfully. I go to a small church, and at the end, after our Wednesday night suppers, somebody's assigned each time. A couple of us are assigned to clean up the table. We have two or three members that are rather morose people and kind of never happy. And they asked one day afterwards, I was cleaning up the tables, and they came by and they said, "This is not your night to clean the tables." And I was like, well, there's a group of people that actually work every night, whether you're assigned night or not. And I was like, no, they followed me around the whole way around the fellowship hall, telling me how miserable they were while I was scrubbing tables. And I just wanted to say, if you would shut up and just scrub a table, you might feel a lot better. That's what life is about. Not sitting around thinking about yourself and being miserable. Do something for someone. Do some work. Be productive with that. The next one is to assume responsibility for problems. Again, don't pass off problems when they're laid in your lap. Look for the solutions and be a part of the solutions to the problem. The next one is, and I couldn't tell who that is. That's not Baker's wife. I found that out. Seek higher truth, but retain an ordinary manner. And this is the part that I'm talking about. That basically, you can have great pride in who and what you are as a physician without destroying that ordinary manner that we all need, where we actually treat each person as a fellow equal person, have unconditional regard for our patients, see them on an equal level. We're trying to figure things out together so we can seek those truths, but not let it go to our head. Very important. And the last one I actually kind of italicized, probably because this is one that, for some reason, when I read this, it spoke to me, and it probably has something to do with a deficit within me. But the concept of practicing virtue without expecting it in return, for some reason, resonates with me very well, because it's something that we're always looking for fairness. And again, life is not fair. We don't get rewarded for everything that we do, but luckily we don't get punished for all the bad things that we do. And so our goal is to practice virtue in our interactions with other people and allow them the right to have whatever response to that. And with our patients, it's a wonderful lesson, because so often we feel like we're giving to our patients and we get angry with them. So I'm doing everything I can and you're not taking your medicine, blah, blah, blah. Get angry with, rather than saying, here's my gift to you. Now you do what we feel like their compliance or participation is a gift back to us, and it frustrates us. So in dealing with patients, we practice virtue by doing the right thing, and hopefully they will reciprocate that, but they may not. We have unconditional positive regard regardless of that. So key is, if you're unhappy, don't look around at your situation. Don't look around at the other people in your life that need to change to make you happy. You stop and you look at yourself, because that's the only part that you have any control over. So how do you do this? How do you control yourself? Number one, you take care of your body. And when everybody's seen enough of Robbie, you can raise your hand and we'll take off when everybody's seen enough of it. Okay, look at the next slide. You can also, so you need to take care of your body, but you also need to take care of your mind. What do I mean by taking care of your mind? Taking care of your mind, the easiest way to take care of your mind is, again, to not listen to yourself. There's a difference between listening to yourself and talking to yourself. Does that make sense? Yeah. When you're listening to yourself, you're listening to those negative things that come up, to your own thoughts. I kind of joke with people and I say, there is a God, but it's not you. Okay, so just because you have a thought doesn't make it right, doesn't make it valid. So when you talk to yourself, you're looking at the world around you, you're looking at the wisdom of the world, the experiences that you've had, and you're actually talking back to yourself. And it's like, no, I'm not going to pass out up here in front of all those people if that's what I feel like that I'm having to give this talk. It's like, I'm going to be okay. Why? Because I've done it a few times. I've seen other people do it. It's self-talk. There's nothing these people can do to hurt me. Yeah, I can make a fool out of myself and not know what I'm talking. That is self-talk rather than listening to what your own brain generates. And that's one of the things that's extremely helpful as far as taking care of your mind. So I've learned things from patients. I have a paraplegic patient that taught me something, was telling me what he did, and I was kind of talking about, so how can you be so joyful now? He said, I struggled, after the injury. He said, then I started, every morning when I got up, I would start feeling sorry for myself, and then I started singing a song, and it's a song that, many may know, this is the day that the Lord has made, I will rejoice and be glad in it. And he would actually just sing that over and over to himself, and I was like, I found myself grumping into work one day going, I don't want to do it. And so I started singing that song, and guess what? It works. The other thing, these are examples of things that I'm talking about. This is the practical side of it. That basically, what you put in your brain can affect how you feel. And the other thing, I listen to the Comedy Channel on the way to work. And so I try to laugh the whole way into work before I get into work. I don't start dreading what's coming up or dreading work. I enjoy my drive to work by listening to a comedy channel. It's a clean comedy channel. Another one of my favorite quotes is, that life is a tragedy for those who feel, but a comedy for those who think. So when we're thinking, those feelings bring up the things that we listen to. We can talk back to ourselves with the things that we know, the things that we know to be true. So I was trying to decide how I was going to end this talk, and I was in the shower shaving. That's probably more than y'all want to know. But anyway, this thought came up, and I said, what am I going to say? I want one more thing to say at the end to kind of wrap it all up, and so I can sit down. And it popped into my mind. And so this is one of my few original thoughts. And so I think it's pretty good. So you don't burn out when you're on fire for what you do. And I actually put my name under it, so it's copyrighted now. But that's how good I think it is. And I'm so, what other residents call me? Humble? Is that what? Yeah, humble. Yeah, right. So how do you keep from burning out? So you embrace your role as a physician, you focus on patient and serving, you keep your life in balance, you practice virtue without expecting it in return, and see work as one of the great opportunities in life rather than a four-letter word. And if that doesn't work, so that all is the fancy stuff, plan A. Plan B is this: if you don't want to get in trouble and have to come see me, don't drink too much, don't do drugs, don't cheat on your wife, don't spend too much money, and you'll never have to come see me. That's a little more succinct thing. So thank y'all very much.